Hey everybody, today is June 2nd, 2018, and it's been a while since I posted anything about me going inside the hive. A lot's been going on. There's been a ton of brood hatched out, and the bees are they're just busting at the seams, and they filled 8 frames already. They've already drawn out comb on 8 frames. So I'm not gonna be messing it for the next week or so because I got just too much stuff going on with sports and kids and all that fun stuff. So um, I'm afraid that they're gonna expand because they're going pretty quick. So I wanted to add another brood box. So I've been trying to figure out how I need to do it and what's the best way. And what I've been finding out is how I'm gonna, take a couple of frames from the bottom to add to the top, and then take 2 frames out of the top one that I'm going to put in, and get them up there, some nurse bees up in that top box to kind of start drawing that comb out and hopefully that'll get everything started and they'll keep going. And um, the one thing, if you haven't noticed, I got a new hat, so I was kind of excited about that. It just came in the mail like 30 minutes ago, so I was kind of excited about that, not having to wear a hot suit. But I'm gonna get started, and we're gonna try to get this done pretty quick. And one thing I will say, I had a comment on one of my videos about putting the lid down because I was bad about taking and putting the lid down on the ground, propping it up. And the one thing I had been doing is flipping this one lid up on top of this upside down, which gives me a good place to set the box when my feeder, when I put it on, so I'm not messing with the bees, and less points of contact to squish bees. So I'm hoping I'll just continue to do that. So far so good. And one thing I've noticed, man, they are just sticking everything together in here, and it's sticky. It gets all over everything. I had added a beetle blaster to the top of this to see if I could catch some beetles in this, where I made the screen bottom board, and I have a slide on the back with vent holes in it. One thing I've noticed about that is they're running the beetles down in there, and I put lime dust in there, and where they're getting in that lime dust, it don't take no time at all. They're dried out and done. So that's working really well, and I'm happy so far with the way that's worked. And the bottom board that I made is really easy to put together and use, and so I suggest getting one of those or making one. Just send me a message if you want some dimensions, and I can get you some dimensions and some ideas of how I did this one to make it pretty quick. The other thing I wanted to do was, while I was in here, is number my frames. So I make sure that when I'm writing my notes in my book, that I can tell which one that I'm talking about on a frame, and I can go back and I can say this is the frame. So I wanted to kind of do that so I could keep track of it. And one other decision I was making about putting another brood box on here and giving them more space is they are expanding really quick now, and it just came on in the past week where they just started really building out, where a lot of that brood is hatching, and it's like full sheets on either side of brood when they're, I mean, the queen's really busy. They're starting to put a lot more kind of burr comb and stuff, and the one thing that I've seen videos and read a little bit about is when they start getting that burr comb around the edges of these frames and they're really building quick, you need to give them a little bit of space. So that was one reason I was wanting to kind of give them a little bit of space as well. Trying to keep from squishing these little critters. And hopefully I don't squish my queen. So what I have heard is the one thing I need to look for is if they're taking and where brood's hatching and they're trying to put honey back and it's not giving the queen as much room to lay, that would be a good frame to where they can hatch out. And so I've got plenty of larvae here and eggs. And I've got honey, but I don't think this is the one that I want to send up there. Lots of brood, good pattern, lots of honey. This one's a good one. It's got honey, pollen, there's eggs, and cap brood on this one. This one will be hatching too. So I think this is one of the ones that I'm going to send up there to kind of lure them up. So that one I know is frame 4. So I'm going to come over here and grab 4. And I've got this one that I've done. You can see I've got my a wax foundation in here, and I've used 20-pound fishing line, and drove a nail here, wrapped it, drove it down, X'd it, put my frame foundation in. Then I came back through the holes again and X'd it again to kind of sandwich it between so it'll hold it in there really good, and then put another nail down here to hold it in. So this is hopefully will work good for me, and let them build that out. But that's got the number 4 on here, so I can replace it with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick that one down in there. I'm gonna slide the 5 back over, because it did not have all that much in it. That's one of my frames that has just hatched out, and they're in the process of putting everything, laying eggs, and getting everything back to normal on that one. See, 6 was the one that I had looked at that I did not want to move up. So I'm gonna leave 6 down here. And 7, they haven't drawn as much out on it. It is on this side. They've drawn it out really good over here, and they're just working away on it. And there's my queen. Right there. You can see her just moving around doing her thing. So that's, I'm glad I got to see her. I had, the last time I looked, I did not see her in there, so she was hiding from me. So I've seen her, so that's a good thing, and I don't want to smush her. So I think I'm just gonna go with that one frame right here up. So I'm gonna be taking frame 4. I got frame 4 back in. I'm gonna slide everything else back in order like it was and keep them all together. And that gives me my last one going in, which they've started a little bit. 10. And make sure I got my space right on them, give them plenty of room, not smush anything. And I'll just go ahead and tell you that if you have a chance to wear just a veil and not wear a suit, I would do it. This is a lot nicer. It seems to me that the bees don't care about you being in there anyways. So now I'm going to get my other box and set on top.